So guys, this is the part of the second upgrade that I was trying to do. This time I'm trying to obviously upgrade the GPU. Originally the HP Pavilion that I have came with an RX 2060, but in the meantime I was also trying to give it a shot for a Radeon graphics card, and I want to see how it performs. Now obviously we need to upgrade the power supply. We have a 400 watt, which is okay for let me just zoom it for you. It's a decent power supply for mostly mid-range graphics card. 2060 is fine. If you have the GTX 1660 is okay. Radeon 6500, even the 600 is okay. But the moment you decide to go for something like 3060 Ti or for the AMD 6600 XT or 6700 XT and further, I believe a 500 watt power supply will be okay for 6700. So the reason why I'm actually making this video is it's definitely not wise to go for a Radeon card with this system, especially the 6600 XT. On paper it's much faster than 2060. It goes head to head with 360 Ti, but that's only on paper. This graphics card that I have, the problem with this is it only runs on X8, as you can see. Alright, as you can see, all these connectors here are not really connecting to anything, which means the card only runs through X8 interface. So that's hell of a waste of the bus. The bandwidth is limited. Yes, it supports the PCI Gen 4, which is basically equivalent to PCI Gen 4 X8 equivalent to PCI 3 Gen 3 X16. The board that we have, my dear friends, is in only support PCI Gen 3. The CPU 10400 that we have only support PCI Gen 3. So that's definitely not worth it. I will definitely have performance drop with this card. Now another thing I'm going to show you, whenever you choose a graphics card, it's very important that you find the diameter, especially the length, so that you could go for tri-fan or bigger one, but the problem is it has a very little room for you to, like if you go for much of a wide card, it will actually can touch this 4-pin power connector here. It's very bad. Like if you bend it, or like you'll end up damaging your system if you are not careful. So the idea is that you need to have a graphics card that is perfectly fit within this space here. If you get a shorter one, even better. Obviously the more powerful GPU you want to have, it's gonna be bigger in size, so we are also limited by the size of the GPU, especially if you use this case here. For the power supply, I went for a 500 watt HP. This is a 500 watt. Obviously you can't just put any power supply, it has to be the HP, and we put out the 400 watt aside. So the SSD has moved here for much more space we have now for our GPU, and of course the hard drive, I moved it here. And I stand corrected about one thing, guys. Previously I thought this couldn't be mounted here, but actually here if you look close, there's room for 2.5 inch and 3.5 inch. So just mount the screws where it says 2.5, as you can see. Let me see if I can zoom it for you. Yeah, and then your SSD will perfectly fit. So that's a solution for me, of course, because I have 2 drive and now I don't have to worry about fitting the GPU. So we'll go ahead and mount our GPU now. That shouldn't be hard now, because we can just mount it straightforward like this. So let's go fire this thing up and see how it performs. Okay, so we have set up a game. This is, I believe, one of the best looking game, if not one of the best looking. So this is the settings I've been using with this game. It's mostly 1080p, of course, VSync off, and we have AMD FreeSync on, so we're not gonna mess up with the refresh rate here. Pretty much everything ultra. Okay, for some reason reflection quality is low, but let's just put it in medium. TA medium, advanced settings, graphics API is DirectX 12. Pretty much everything high, ultra, and some of the stuff in medium. I mean, if you put them on high or ultra, it doesn't really make much changes. So for a smoother like FPS, I think for this card, this is pretty much it. The TA sharpening, you can increase it, but it just makes the image quality a little bit like on the extra sharp edge, and you can start, and you might end up seeing some ghosting effect. So tree body ultra, far quality medium, decal, tree resolution off. This is I don't know, guys, whenever you try it on, this will dramatically drop off your FPS. So this is definitely something out, and you can keep it on, but it doesn't really make much difference in terms of image quality, but the performance gain is huge. So that's pretty much what we have here. Just put that on here, and now we're gonna load the game and we'll see how it performs. So now we're in game, and basically, if I compare with an RTS 2060 that I had before with this stock that came stock with this Pavilion, I would say there's definitely some increase in FPS, of course. Now, surprisingly though, the same settings, almost the same settings, what I believe is that nvidia provide a better image quality. I mean, I could be wrong, but the way things render, especially in this particular game, the way things get rendered up, whenever, okay, it's kind of hard to explain, and I'm not sure if it's going to capture on the video, but technically speaking, I see the rendering like when you're in a constantly moving in your horse or running on foot. There are certain little ghosting sometimes, or a little blurriness that I've encountered with the AMD card, which I never had with the RTX. But that being said, the graphics improvement overall is good because you're not sacrificing FPS, but you can bump up some of the settings, which otherwise put the RTS 2060 dropping our. If you want to go for anything higher like 6700XT, you better off with a monitor that supports a resolution of 1440 or like. But if you want to go for 4K, I'll definitely would suggest that a 6800 or higher is recommended. And for the nvidia part, I believe for playable FPS, anything above RTX 3070 is good for 4K. But since we are doing the 1080p here, and we are very limited by the aspect that our HP Pavilion gaming system it's like you can't really just put any graphics card, power supply, and stuff like that. So the power supply that I could get my hands on is a 500 watts, so I also have to keep that in mind. I want to put something that kind of stress the power supply and risk the stability. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I could fire up some more games, but I just want to show you because this is one of the most graphical demanding games that can the GPU to its limit. So that's the graphics you'll basically observe when you play in the daytime. This is morning. This is a dynamic weather system outside. Sometimes it's gonna rain. It's gonna be windy. But guys, visually, it just, I don't know. It's one of the best like good looking game that I've played. Um, the FPS is pretty much hovering around, I would say, from 75 to 100 FPS in most cases. I didn't do any kind of overclocking or anything, but you probably will see around 80 FPS in most cases in general on average with the settings that we selected. Let's call our horse and let's go for a ride. See how the distance of the looks. As you can see, the trees in the forest it just, I don't know, like it's amazing, and the way the light enters, it's breathtaking, amazing. Obviously this is the morning time, and I think it's kind of foggy here, but it is definitely, yeah. But I would still not recommend this card. It's just that I just wanted to try out the AMD in the system. I just wanted to get the best card out there that is still pretty much within the spec of a 500 watt requirements for the whole system. And technically speaking, if you want to go for a 3060 Ti, you can still use the 500 PSU. I don't have that on the video, but on the other screen I have my GPU-Z, which showing the card is drawing not more than, I would say, 150 watt here, and the CPU is drawing around like 40 watts, say. So combined we are looking at max 200 watt pulling, so we still have a lot of headroom. But whenever you put a 3060 Ti, which I don't have, that's like another 60 watt bump. Now that technically, I don't know if 500 watt is okay. I'm sure you can run it, but just for stability and overall power related issues, I would say. But for me, I think the sweet spot for this HP Pavilion tg-01 is RTS 3060. Anything above that, you might have to look for a 550 watt power supply, which will, I don't know, like it's gonna be really tough to get one. It's so small. The amount of heat you will generate, it just, I don't know, that it doesn't have enough ventilation. So that's a 1080p range. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I would really appreciate if you subscribe. I'd like to post more videos in future. Thank you so much.